Welcome to Seagull Eagle, the podcast where two rivals meet, Crystal Palace and Brighton. Football's answer to a WhatsApp group that should have been muted years ago.
This week at Brighton, we spent all week in Manchester, got a point from the blue half and knocked out the red half. A pretty good week to do a pod, eh, Andy?
Meanwhile, at Crystal Palace, a cold night at Selhurst Park ends in a goalless draw with Villa. The FA Cup dream, over before it started. Dumped out at the first round by non-league Macclesfield. 10 games, 10-0 without a win in all competitions. Confidence is shot, questions are piling up, and the Eagles are searching for answers fast.
We'll discuss all of this and much more because this is Seagull Eagle.
Good evening, Neil.
Good evening, Andy. How are you?
Oh, I'm great, mate.
Yeah.
Never been better. Chirpy as the chirpiest person that ever was chirpy.
Yeah,
man.
I've been away this week, so I haven't seen much news. Anything going on? Anything I should know about?
No, mate, not much at all. Not much. Did you have a nice holiday?
I did, thank you.
Yeah?
Yes. It was all the sweeter for being able to tune in and watch a few FA Cup games.
Was the FA Cup on this week?
Yeah, it was. Did you not know?
Mate, oblivious. Oblivious. Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You won't have to worry about it the rest of the season.
Oh, right.
Oh dear, this is awkward. Where should we start?
Is it awkward?
Well, let's start at the FA Cup, Andy. It was the FA Cup third round this weekend.
Yeah.
Honestly, listeners, you cannot see his face. Let's start with Brighton, shall we?
If you would like to.
Would
you like to tell us about your success story?
I would love to, mate. Yeah. I think it's only right that we start with the team that won this weekend. So we were drawn, as you know, in the third round of the FA Cup, a really annoying draw away at Old Trafford against Manchester United. And you know, in all honesty, as I said last week, I wasn't expecting too much. I was thinking, or as we discussed...
Don't think many people were, mate.
Well, no, yeah, we were all discussing the same thing, weren't we? The idea of the old new manager bounce, or at least the temporary manager bounce, you know, and all this sort of stuff. So, I wasn't too excited about it. Turns out there was no bounce. And Brighton Hove Albion managed to get the win. Now, I was very chirpy.
And I'd like to be the first person on this podcast to congratulate you for that win and wish you all the best in your FA Cup journey.
Thank you. That's because you know the draw. No, thank you. I appreciate that, mate. Listen, I won't go over it too much. I think what I will do is just talk through a few of the basics about the game, which I and the sort of the snapshots that I've taken from it. As I said, I wasn't expecting too much, but actually was really pleasantly surprised when the lineups came out. I was interested to see what he would do, Fabian Hürzeler, because it's a cup game, so you expect to make changes. But at the same time, it's against Manchester United at Old Trafford. So you think to yourself, if he really wants to get through, he'll probably want to keep the same side as much as possible, especially coming off such a good result in the week, which we'll talk about later in the Premier League. I was thinking, maybe he'll do the same and just keep the same team. He didn't. He made quite a few changes. And the biggest headline, I would say, from the changes that he made was Coppola and Boscagli both coming in as centre-backs, which... I think was a bit of a shock. I wasn't expecting both of them to come in. Veltman at right back. Kadioglu now moved back over to his left back where he'd been right wing in the middle of the week. There was a lot of little changes of positions for different players. Welbeck back in the side as well up front, as we know. So, from that perspective, there was a few changes. But again, the biggest change probably the centre-backs and, of course, Jason Steele back in goal as well, which...
you rate him, didn't you?
I do. He's one of those guys... I think the problem is that he's not as good a goalkeeper as Verbruggen in the sense of shot stopping, all right?
Yeah.
He's not as good. But his ball distribution, his control on the ball, if you want to play out from the back...
So he's a good defender, but a bad keeper.
There you go. It is that. Ironically, he's not a bad goalkeeper. He's just not as good as Verbruggen.
Yeah.
But actually, when we're on the ball,
yeah,
his distribution is fantastic and it really makes a difference. The first half, right, the things I would say about this is I think... Man United, apart from maybe a couple of sort of the first 3 or 4 minutes where they sort of tried to bombard us a little bit, and they had a couple of good chances where Steele had to make a couple of quick run out of the box and sort of kick it away or whatever. I don't think really Man United did much in that first half at all to get behind us or create too many chances. I think Albion played very much a counter-attacking style in that first half, and to be fair, the whole game really, just letting United have the ball and sort of aiming to break on them. And, from that perspective, I was really happy. I think when you look at the goal, it was 12 minutes into the game. So the crowd are still up. They're still trying to get United ahead, obviously. The movement, I think I counted 14 or 15 passes in this passing move that ended up, obviously, with Welbeck crossing it, Jorginho Rutter trying to get the ball, head it in towards goal, gets kicked away, but then Gruder picks it up and puts it away. And I'm loving the fact that we go 1-0 up. But because it's only 12 minutes in, and let's be honest, Brighton never keep a clean sheet, hardly.
Could potentially be too good to be true, right?
Exactly. So although it's great to get 1-0 up, I think I was more happy that we were showing attacking intent and we were trying to get hold of the ball on the counter-attack rather than do what we normally do, which is this style where we want to, just take the ball and move it around from side to side to side to side constantly. Yeah. We didn't want to do that. And this week with the Man United and the Man City game, they were both very similar games in that sense, giving the opposition the ball and giving them the majority of the possession. And the way that we break, therefore, with our fast passing really, I think actually works for our style much more with the players that we have. So I was very happy to go 1-0 up, and I was pleased for Brajan Gruder as well. I think this was probably his best game of the season. He's a frustrating watch sometimes, and I've said it to you in the past, where I think a lot of people around me where I sit at the Amex, they talk about it as well, where he holds on to the ball a little bit too long all the time. He's always looking to do a special move or some sort of bit of trick or flair, when a lot of the time he doesn't actually need to.
Yeah.
And this week at Old Trafford, I felt he found the right balance. I appreciate that he had a really good 90 minutes there. The rest of the half, after going 1-0 up, I think we soaked up the pressure really well. Pascagli and Coppola looked like they'd been playing together all season. I thought they were really strong, especially against someone like Benjamin Šeško, who is big, strong, and you're expecting more from him. I was really disappointed actually by him, and I think I've been disappointed this whole season.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's not done what he's meant to have done, is he?
Do you know what I mean?
Like he set the world on fire.
You were expecting more because of the style that he is as well. I thought he'd be a lot more aggressive.
But you've just summed up the entire squad of Man United. Well, as soon as they put that shirt on, it goes to pot.
Yeah, totally agree, mate. Totally agree. And so, listen, I was really pleased to go into the break 1-0 up. And as I said, I think we soaked up the pressure. We didn't really give them many chances. So I was expecting a little bit more from Man United in the second half. But actually, it was much the same, really. We sat back, we made sure that we countered where we had the opportunity. And then as time moved on, Man United started to get more and more desperate, obviously. The thing that happened, probably the best out of everything, really, was the second goal for Brighton, which is 63, 64 minutes. So right in the middle of that sort of moment where you're expecting Man United to go for it, we get our second goal. And the finish from Welbeck, I don't know if you saw it, but
I did.
Was a good finish, wasn't it? Come on.
Mate, there's a reason why everyone's talking about him again, right? So fair play to the guy.
It was a great finish. And I think, again, just pointing out, Gruder got the ball, turned, looked up, passed it. Didn't think about making a funny pass or a flare or keeping on hold of it longer. He found the ball to Welbeck, who finished it like a rocket in the top corner. It was great. And 2-0 up. And at that moment, to be fair, I was at that moment, I was like, well, this is it. We're done. And not many times this season have I thought, if we've ever gone 2-0 up, that the game is done. But actually, I did in this game, because you can see.
Well, you got the confidence from the back, didn't you? I guess that they're just, they're not going to ship any in.
And you just didn't feel it at all. And Man United were just not on it. And it just didn't feel like anything was going to happen. Now, obviously, Man United have to make some changes then, and they went for it a little bit. But the good thing was that Hörsler replied to that, and he brought Van Hecke on to come in, and we went 5 at the back. So we had Pascagli and Coppola, and now Van Hecke in there as well. And suddenly, again, that made us even more sturdy at the back, took off a couple of the forward players, and then even more than before, we had the opportunity to counter if we needed to. And so there was always an outlet. Kostulas came on late in the game and he was excellent again, although he only had a few minutes. His composure when he had the ball, running into the corners, really, really assured and felt like a player that had been playing for 10 years already.
He did look good.
And can I just say, he's 18, Andy. I don't know if I've mentioned that before.
Oh, you haven't actually?
No, I didn't think so. So listen, the only annoyance is that obviously we did concede a goal right near the end of the game. I think it was 85 minutes.
But it wouldn't have been right otherwise, would it?
No, it wouldn't have been. Keep a clean sheet.
The only reason that you got the result you did is because you scored 2 first.
It was a frustration, but at the same time, I think that was the only way they were going to score, just lumping it up into the corner and literally from 0 yards out and just trying to lump it in. So it was a bit of a frustration, but wasn't meant to be a clean sheet. It was a shame. And although that did get their tails up a little bit, I still didn't feel like they were creating loads of chances or anything. I didn't feel like there was panic in the side. And I don't know if you saw the little young lad that came on, that Lacey kid. I mean, yeah. I do have to feel sorry for him a little bit. I do. But at the same time, you can't be petulant like that. You just can't be.
No.
And it was a silly tackle to get booked in the first place. That was the one really where, he's over exuberant. He's trying to jump in and things, and he's trying to show. I get the idea. He's trying to show a little bit of passion.
Yeah, he's keen.
He is. But 2 yellows. I think it was 89 minutes. So he was only on the pitch about 10, 15 minutes. So not great for him. I felt sorry for him a little bit, but ultimately,
it's a human being, Neil.
Yeah.
I think you need to retract that. I think you need to say that you do actually. No one likes seeing an 18-year-old kid with his chance to shine get sent off.
I don't care. If he breaks the rules, I don't care. Listen, in summary, I'm going to keep it short because we've got
too late for that, mate. We've been going for about half an hour now.
Really good team performance overall, considering the changes. Okay,
well done.
I was really impressed with the 2 centre backs. As I said, they were fantastic. Ferdy Kadioglu got his 3rd player of the match in consecutive weeks. So he's literally 3 in a row. Our last 3 matches that we've played, he's got man of the match.
And did he deserve that?
He really did. Yeah. He's fast turning into one of our, if not our best player at the moment this season.
So Chelsea next year then?
Oh, most definitely. He'll be playing for Blue Cone in no time, I would imagine. I think the injury last season, as we said, it came at the wrong time. He hadn't really started that well. He hadn't got into the team. This season, they've got his minutes up bit by bit, and now he is literally undroppable. He cannot be dropped. And he's playing literally anywhere the manager tells him. He's playing left back, right back, right wing, left wing.
What is his actual position?
So, if you look back historically before he joined Brighton, the majority of his career he's played at left back, or in midfield.
Yes, if you went on FIFA, he'd be a left back, would he?
Yeah, officially he's left back. Yeah, but he's right-footed. Although you can't really tell, he's naturally right-footed. He's played left wing, right wing, midfield in Turkey, in other teams as well. So for the national team, he's played in lots of different places. So he's just one of those players that, apart from scoring goals, he's pretty much anywhere. He's fantastic to watch. His quality on the ball and his passion and the engine on him, his stamina is unbelievable. So 3rd player of the match award in 3 games. I can't get away with it. Man United were poor, right?
They were nowhere near on the money, and it's really shocking actually. But then I guess if you've got a temporary manager, Neil, you've got a temporary manager in who's going to be replaced by another temporary manager. Yeah, it's not like them players are going, I'm playing for my future.
No,
and I think that's a bit of the mistake of what they did there. They should have just kept old Ammer in until they got their proper temporary manager in. Because, do you know what I mean? Them players aren't going to go, I'm playing for my place, because they know the other guy's coming in 2 days' time.
What surprised me most was the fact that this was the FA Cup 3rd round. Their first opportunity to playing a different competition, to go far and win a cup. This is the only competition they had left. They went out.
It's the last chance.
In their first game in the League Cup. Yeah. Obviously, they're in the league, but they're not going to get anywhere apart from Europe at a push.
Yeah.
So this was their opportunity. And yet they gave that performance. I was very shocked.
I can't believe a team who, trying to impress and gave it a performance like that. Oh, it rings some bells, actually.
Yeah,
Christ,
we got a little lucky in the draw, having played Man United, thankfully. After all, when we could have faced Macclesfield or something.
Well, mate, I mean the Giant Killers.
Look, I can't do this anymore. I can't sit here and talk about Man United game. You know what we need to do? We need to talk about the other game, mate. The other FA Cup game this weekend.
Yeah.
I think it's time. I'm struggling to sort of talk to you about it because I'm not really sure how you're feeling. I can see your face, and I can see that you're a little bit.
You're loving it, mate.
Yeah. So,
well, I mean, it's look. I did actually say that last week that if this happened, I wouldn't be here.
Well, that's a good point. You are here,
so I turned up.
I appreciate you are. I think
also it just shows you we shouldn't joke about stuff on a podcast because it actually came true,
mate. I don't think we had anything to do with this one. So Macclesfield. 117 places between them and Crystal Palace.
Yeah, did you watch that documentary on Macclesfield? Did you watch the
I've
TV
seen bits
series
of it.
about Robbie Savage and all that?
Yeah.
Great, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
really,
great.
really good. Should we talk about that?
No. So
Okay.
117 places between you and Macclesfield.
Yep.
This is the biggest in FA Cup history when it comes to giant killing.
I'll take that. There is not a giant. That's all right.
Well, it's true. There has not been a bigger gap between two teams. It's literally the best and the worst for you. I cannot believe this happened. So talk me through it, mate. What do you think happened?
I can't believe it happened, but also I can fully understand how and why.
Go on.
By the way, just while we were talking, should we just get the kind of big headlines over and done with?
Go on then.
We'll just get them over and done with
Go
first. So obviously, she talks about the 117 places and statistically the biggest cup shot. What we haven't talked about is the fact that Macclesfield were the first non-league team to eliminate an FA Cup holder since Crystal Palace knocked out Wolves in 1908. When Palace were non-league then and Wolves weren't.
That's amazing that you're on both sides of that piece of history.
Well, but mate, the word, like, there's this word, isn't there, that we use often, palacey. It's really palacey. And it's like, Spurs have it with the whole, that's Spursy. And it's like...
We've got it with Dr. Brighton. We have it,
But it is a thing, right?
Yeah, of course.
And the way that stuff happens to Palace, be it in our control or out of our control, whatever it is.
This one was in your control.
Well, you say that, but let's talk about it.
Oh, okay. Where are we going to go with this one?
I think the point being
Another
is that
conspiracy theory?
No, and there's no conspiracy theory.
Yeah, go on.
But what I'm trying to say is you just can't write this stuff. You cannot write this stuff, and then you just add it to the long list of calamities that have happened since that cup was lifted. I mean, there was a special FA Cup holders ball.
I did.
That we played with for 96
that.
minutes.
Do you know what? Before the game, right, when I heard about the special FA Cup ball for the holders, I was sitting there thinking, how did we miss that last week? Why didn't we talk about that in the pod? Oh, that's going to be something interesting. We can talk about that next week in the pod. Didn't realise that was the only game you're ever going to play with it. Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Mate, honestly, just all of it is... it's a little bit of a farce in it because it's kind of, I think the thing that upsets me most about this is not the fact that it happened, but the fact that now the haters and the ones that would stick the knife in, as we would do the other way round, right, i.e. Brighton, right, will forever add a line after you won the FA Cup. Well, yeah, but you got knocked out by Macclesfield the year after. Yeah. And I think that's the bit of it that annoys me. However, one thing that cannot be done is that trophy is in our trophy cabinet.
Absolutely.
And will be forever. Yeah. Right? Yes, we have to hand the real one back. Yeah. But we won that trophy. And if you said to me, you get to win the FA Cup, go to Wembley 3 times, don't lose 3 times, walk away with 2 cups.
I can't believe you're still sitting here talking about last year's FA Cup.
No, but that's part of the story, right?
No, it's not. We're talking about this season.
Okay, Neil, I'm asking you the question, right? If you could win the FA Cup, but I said to you, you'll get absolutely publicly ridiculed for losing to a non-league team in the third round the following year.
Yeah.
Are you telling me you won't win the FA Cup?
Absolutely not. Of course I would.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about now. We're talking about ridiculing you for losing to Macclesfield.
Yes.
So let's do that.
Well, all right then. Let's talk about it. I mean,
in all seriousness,
the worst Palace side I've seen in years on a football pitch.
Right. Okay. So that's a good start. So where do you and how do you pull this apart and give me your opinion on where you think it went wrong? Like what is it that's in your mind after seeing that?
I mean, as a football man and someone who does speak reasonable amount of sense over the last year or so we've been doing this, I'm shocked that you've had to actually ask me that. And also, look, Macclesfield beat Crystal Palace.
Correct.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Macclesfield did not beat the team that lifted the FA Cup.
No.
And I think this is what, and it's not like, it is the situation, and it's the situation that potentially we have put ourselves in because of lack of depth and all the other bits and pieces. But our first team did not get beaten by a non-league team.
No.
Right?
I understand what you're saying, but that is the team you put out, or your manager put out.
Well, it's not about that. It's the only team we had. There wasn't many other options. We had three players.
That team should have beaten Macclesfield.
Well, bear with me though, mate. We had three players that played in the FA Cup final, were playing that day,
right?
Followed by two more that came on off the bench.
Sure. Okay.
And the rest of it was obviously, we have got a squad which is a really strong 13 players.
Right.
Probably, maybe 14. And then there's a few that are kind of just about keeping up. And then the rest of them, the fringe players, are absolutely well and truly off the pace in terms of they are system players that fit in if the rest of the, say for example, if one of them 11 is injured, right?
Yep.
What these players can come in and they can cover that position as part of a system.
Okay.
Right? If you put and make, was it 8 changes? I think
so, yeah.
Which is what we made. And you put all these system players on a pitch together with each other, the system don't work, right? It just doesn't work because there is no individual talent to enable that system to work. There's no moments of special talent. There's no being able to beat the man. There's no moments of dribbling it past or taking the player on or that just moment where you go, wow, which is how we won stuff, because there was moments within all of that discipline that the system relies on. There was moments of sheer brilliance from the likes of Sarr, Eze, Munez, Kamada, even though he took stick for the first year, like all these other people, like they are the difference in that game, right?
So on Saturday, when you saw the lineup and you saw who was coming on, or who was playing before the game, were you worried, or were you still thinking that team has enough to beat Macclesfield?
You listened to the podcast last week, Neil. I wasn't filled with confidence going into it. And I'm not saying that I for one second really genuinely believed we weren't going to win this, but I didn't think it was going to be easy, mate.
No, of course not. No.
If I was a gambling man, which I'm not, I wouldn't be going down the bookies going 6-0.
No, absolutely.
If I was a gambling man, I probably would have said 1-0 or beat them on penalties or something, because we don't. The problem is, mate, we've talked about it. Palace are in survival mode, right? And we are. Yeah, we do not have the players at the moment at our disposal to win games, right? We've got enough players to potentially not lose some games if we're lucky. But even now, we're leaking set pieces, which is the issue that we've got. So, given our current state of situation, part of me just actually isn't surprised about this, but what it has done is really highlight the one thing that is apparent, which is that our summer transfer business clearly wasn't as good as we thought it might have been.
No.
Because if you look at the players that have come in now, are the players that we bought in the summer. And like Uche had that moment of brilliance in Europe where he scored that beautiful goal from the inside of his foot and all that. And apart from that, though, hasn't set the world on fire. And he was awful in that game. Borna Sosa.
So I've seen a lot of chat online about Borna Sosa. There is a lot of people really pushing down on him, saying, what the hell have we just signed? He's awful.
Well, I have struggled to eat. I mean, my son will tell you this because he sits next to me at the games, and I just shake my head at him the whole game because I just don't know what he's doing. And I think the only argument would be if his stats for that game for Macclesfield were one of the highest in our team.
Right. Okay.
And I don't understand why. And there's not a single Palace fan that agrees with the official stats. Like, I don't quite know how they came up with them, but the rating of the But I think someone's made an error. But the only thing I can think of is he's a crosser of the ball, right?
Yeah.
And if there's no one to get on the end of the ball, then maybe that ain't great, but I think the point being is that no one in that team, mate, was taking anyone on. We were doing a Brighton, mate. We were playing sideways football, and it was frustrating as hell, and we made them look brilliant. And Borna Sosa was appalling. Uche was appalling. And even like when you're surrounded by calamity, our steadfast midfielder Adam Wharton, England international, was made to look. I mean, mate, I've seen better teams play my son's football team. Like he was having an absolute shocker, mate. All the passes were going awry. I don't know, mate. I think it's just that the whole thing just collapsed, and I think that ultimately we don't have the squad to be able to deal with that.
Okay, so let me stop you there for a second. Sorry, just give me 1 second on this, right?
Yeah.
So you've just said it yourself. You don't have the squad. Okay, that's fine. I understand that. You're hitting currently a large list of injuries. I get that as well. Okay. So
the second largest list. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah. Okay. So where's your manager in all of this? Where does the blame sit when it comes to? You talked about the players, you've talked about who came on, and some of them aren't good enough, and all that sort of stuff. Where does the manager sit in this situation? What are you thinking about that? Because one of the things that I'm scratching my head with is if you've got that many injuries, is there and you're playing Macclesfield, right? Yeah. Where you need to win anyway. It's one tie. There's no replays or anything like that. Why not play a different formation? Why not play it so you've got 2 or 3 strikers up front if you've got some strikers, or some young kids that are more attacking, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, why not come up with something else? What do you think about Glasner's decisions to play who he's playing and what they did on Saturday?
I think he did obviously what he thought was right. We're going through a horrid time at the moment. And I think that, truthfully, he said something flippantly, which I believe he actually meant after the game, where he said, and it wasn't to the official press, but it was to one of the news outlets that interviewed him afterwards. He said something about, I would have been better off playing the under-21s.
Really?
Right. And he's got a point there. And I'm taking him literally on that, and probably for a different reason to what you are. What he did was he made 8 changes, and we got players on the pitch that aren't used to playing with each other. We've got half the youth team playing. None of them complemented each other or are used to playing with each other because of what's going on. So in essence, you've just got this mishmash of a team who statistically and on paper, of course, should beat Macclesfield, right? Yeah. However, together, it's a new team, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And if we'd have started with a couple of change, like from Glasner was saying, is Glasner at fault? Well, let's be honest. I always go down the route of play a stronger team and then take them off in the second half. Right? Because they're still playing half a game, right? Get yourself in front. Less of a catastrophic ending. But the truth of the matter is, our under-21s team would have beaten Macclesfield because they're a team with a system and a way of playing and a coherence between said team. And even though no one had even heard of any of them, but that wasn't to be. Ultimately, this is the end result of a really, really bad run of form, a bad run of luck, because injuries do come down to luck, right? And I think that there are worse things that could have happened, right? There are worse things that could have happened. You can't take away what we've already won, right?
What could have happened that was worse?
Well, I mean, we could get relegated or whatever it would be.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant in the FA Cup. No, right,
mate,
okay,
look,
right.
I mean, this is not the end of the world.
No, of course it's not. And it's hilarious, but it's not the end of the world.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is hilarious, but we're not going to be the only ones that get beaten by lesser opposition.
I agree.
And I think there's no excuses for it, right? Because, and I will say this first of all, the real reason apart from the lack of options to play and the lack of coherence on the pitch, the real reason is that Macclesfield wanted it more.
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Which is utterly just awful for me to see. Because as a Palace fan, I'm used to that passion, that fighting for the second ball, that grit, that determination, that want to win. And that has gone because we haven't won a game in 10, mate. And Macclesfield have got the big boys coming. This is their day to shine. They've finished their job in Sainsbury's during the day or on the farm or what, whatever they're doing in the business suit, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They've come to Macclesfield. They spent the whole 2 or 3 days before I'm clearing the snow off the pitch.
Yeah.
They're still mourning the loss of their friend as
Absolutely.
well.
Yeah.
And without adding too much to that, I think that could be part of the psyche in terms of how you do a giant killing, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Which
absolutely.
gives them a reason to want and win. And I think all of that enables this team that shouldn't be beating Palace, and they're not even doing that great in the league, to come and cause an upset. And then you add on to the fact that, Gahey was heard before the game. One of the players went up to Gahey and went, "Oh, what do you think of this?" And he was like, something about like, "This isn't me," or something about the pitch.
Right, okay.
Playing on the pitch. So he kind of referred to the fact that he weren't up
It's a
for that.
3G pitch, wasn't it?
It's basically the same pitch that my son plays on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And again, nothing wrong with that, because that's actually a good pitch for them.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But it's a complete. You could tell when you were watching the game,
It's a
the way
different
the
feel
ball was
completely.
bouncing around and all this kind. And obviously, Mateta didn't even travel because they didn't want to. The club medics were like, "You're not playing on an AstroTurf pitch because of your knee and all this." So, but then they had that. They had their main striker who didn't even play after the warm up. There aren't excuses, mate. They just wanted it more. And do you know what? All I can say is congratulations to Macclesfield. It must have been a wonderful day for their supporters. They were superb. They didn't win because we made a mistake. They won because they were the better team on the day. And that's why it was lovely to see the Palace fans clapping and cheering and kind of showing their appreciation, even though they're probably quite terrifying to see a whole pitch full of Macclesfield supporters coming towards you.
No, it was
But
lovely.
they stayed at the end to shit, because no one understands the underdog story, truthfully, better than Palace.
No, I agree. It was a wonderful moment, and it was really good from the fans. Actually, you talk about the fans. Just quickly before we move on, then. There was a camera was caught just near the end of the game. You could see Mark Gahey go over to the Palace fans. He seemed to be having some sort of conversations or something. Do you know what that was about in the end? Do we find out what was going on there?
I would imagine that the Palace fans were telling Gahey what an absolute awful game he had, and the rest of the team are wondering what had gone on. But there was
I've just not seen that before, like where the player has actually gone, and it literally looked like they were having a deep conversation with the fans.
Well, look, Gahey is captain, and he has never shied away from the fans on a loss. And I guess fair play to him. It takes a brave man to go over to a set of livid Palace fans, but he did it. And whether that was the right decision or not, truthfully, nothing about the actual conversation has actually come out, so no one really knows what that was.
Okay.
Do you know what the other funny thing is that obviously there was a exhibition called The Art of Winning in Crystal Palace, in actual Crystal Palace. There was an exhibition called The Art of Winning that had all of the exhibits from the FA Cup that was going on at the same time. Mate, look, it's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, isn't it? And
wow.
It's just one of them things that is. And do you know what the funny thing is? Just without kind of, I'm sure probably this is the only review that Brighton fans are quite happy to listen to.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's really interesting because there's another point that we'll probably explain it. Apart from the whole system thing and all this, you talk about Brighton's inability to break down a low block.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And I've gone into deep thought about how the hell did we make a non-league team look like probably a good championship team, right?
Wow.
No, but they did look. They were looking like a good team. To be fair, they were threatening, and
If you say so, yeah. Go on.
And I think that the point being is that we have history of struggling, and I did joke about this the other day because there was a level of seriousness in it, which is that you look at the Cups game and you look at the Larnaca game,
Yes.
and we struggled like hell to break down really poor teams because our system did not allow us.
I agree, yeah.
That because we were relying on a moment of brilliance from somebody to take someone on, to be brave,
Yeah.
and we didn't have the players to do that. And then you take out 3 or 4 of the big players that we now don't even have. That is how you end up losing to Macclesfield. And that is how we have ended up in this situation. And I mean, I don't think any of them players turned up there like not wanting to win. Of course they want to win another cup. I just don't think that we've got the likes of Sarr, Eze, Muniz, Kamada all missing, and too many horizontal passes, couldn't break the lines, and guess what? We conceded yet another set piece. And the bloke who edited it in even had a bandage on his head. I mean, come on. It's just one of them things, isn't it? The only good thing about the game was Pino's free kick, which is the only thing in the game that he actually did.
Yeah, I agree. It was awful. And look, I'm not going to pile more stress and strain on you. I can see it. You're hurting, and I understand why. It's a perfect storm of situations. And, you know, obviously coming from a Brighton side, it's hilarious. And it was funny on the weekend watching it and all that sort of stuff. Yes, of course it is. My only question was about the manager and his choice of what he was going to do in that game. And I just struggled with him almost after the game saying, you know, you could tell he was blaming the players, obviously, and there was a few little things that he said here or there.
I don't know if he was blaming the players though, Neil.
He was blaming the performance levels.
Well, he was basically
People
saying
didn't want
that there wasn't enough intensity and that they wanted it more, which is absolutely true. But also, I just don't know. Truthfully, I don't know what more. As I said, the only thing that I can really criticise him on is what a lot of the managers do, which is to play the stronger people, even just for 20 minutes and go 2-0 up, and then you put your youngsters on. But mate, who wouldn't have done what he did playing a non-league team in the third round of the FA Cup?
I agree. I agree.
The problems have come from Crystal Palace, and it's really, really simple to see. If you track back and you look at the lineups and the results, right, since Kamada, Sarr and Muniz have been missing, our results have not gone to plan, right? We've gone 10 games without a win. Our last win was on the 7th of December against Fulham, right? Which doesn't feel like that long ago because it's actually only a month ago.
But because of the Christmas period, it's
the amount of games. And like, it's bad, but it's a moment in time. And this is what, I mean, look, the Palace fans have turned quick, right?
Right.
And there's absolute outroar. But I know that you can't turn into a bad team overnight, mate. No. You can't turn into a bad team overnight. And once, like, what is it? A few more days now till Sarr's back. Some of the other players will start coming back from injury. And I think our tables will turn, and hopefully in time for us to be able to concentrate on the Conference League, because now we're at the FA Cup. We've got a whole week to prepare for our Conference League game. And we're now in the realms of playing, you know, 1 game a week, maybe 2 if we're in a European time. So it's a lot more manageable now, mate. Imagine if we'd have carried on in the FA Cup, and how many players would we have left then? It was going to go wrong somewhere, and that's where it went wrong.
Well, you've only got 4 weeks until Seagull Eagle Day 2 as well. So that's hopefully you don't get any form in time for that. Listen, we'll
have some players by then.
We'll take a break and we'll reform and try and de-stress Andy as much as we can. See you in a moment.
I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I will be in trouble.
Welcome back, everyone.
Right, Neil.
What?
Last week on the pod, we talked about the fixtures that were upcoming.
Yeah.
And obviously I joked about playing Villa and Macclesfield, and if we didn't win either, then, you know, I was giving up and wouldn't do the pod anymore.
Yes, I very much remember that.
We looked at Palace's fixtures as the favourable ones out of the two of ours, because obviously you were playing the entire Manchester teams, and the chances of coming out of that unscathed were reasonably slim, and I was feeling rather self-assured that I would be able to sit here with a smile on my face and listen to you melt down again.
I think smart.
Only because I've got used to it over the weeks. So how the hell did you make that happen?
Do you know what? Out of the 2 games, Man United or Man City, the Man City game I enjoyed a lot more. Even though we didn't win it, I enjoyed it a lot more.
But you didn't lose it.
We didn't lose it. And
it was away, right?
It was away. It was at the Etihad. So obviously
that means even more.
So earlier in the season, we beat Man City at home So, and last season, this is under Herzler, last season at the Etihad, we drew with them 2-2 as well.
You've got a decent record with them, haven't you?
Herzler has not lost to Pep Guardiola yet in his career, which is a short career because he's 12 years old, but it's still pretty good going. And so the thing is, right, I go on for the last few weeks a lot about Herzler and the DNA and the style of the game and how we want to play and all this stuff, and I struggle with it and things. When we face a big, expansive team, one of the big teams that want to play themselves and they want to go out there and they want to do their thing and we want to do our thing.
Because they're creating the gaps and you go into them and
suddenly you look at it and you go, oh, this looks nice, this works, yeah. And I think generally, I won't go into it now, but generally that's the struggle. That's the next chapter of, okay, so we can do that bit. How are we going to have to change to then beat the teams like you were talking about earlier, the low block and other things? Anyway, look, I digress, but the weekend against Man United was fun, but the game against Man City was just such a fascinating tactical battle. So the changes and the lineup, I think, is the first thing to say, right? So we go back to the Premier League and it didn't make loads of changes. Put in the normal back four, you could argue, in some respects. So Duncan, Van Heck, and then he put Hinchelwood, though, at right back. Now,
Hinchelwood at right back?
Yeah, so Hinchelwood has played right back on and off a little bit here and there, okay? So Weaver is injured and he's been injured for a few weeks, but he's put Hinchelwood at right back. And I think specifically to go up against Doku, okay, which is difficult for any player, okay? Hinchelwood was excellent at right back. He's specifically there to make sure that Jeremy Doku didn't get a goal, didn't get too much on him. And you know, Doku was fantastic. You know, it's very difficult to stop Doku, you know, but Hinchelwood did a really good job. He put De Kuyper at left back, who has been in and out of the side. And I think De Kuyper is really struggling in his first season defensively. I think his concentration levels, I think he looks a little unfit, a little weak. And I think that's understandable coming from where he's come from, the Belgian league to this league. I think he's suddenly starting to realise what it takes to be in this league. So he's in and out of the side a little bit, and he was a struggle at left back. But the one player that did start, which I think basically made the whole game, was Pascal Gross. So he was then put in midfield for his first start since coming back. He played against Man United as well. So I think this is I think this could be the missing link to helping Brighton keep hold of the ball better and use it better. Having a player of that quality back.
It does feel like your tables have turned a little bit.
Well, a little. It's short space of time, but hopefully. Yeah. And having Pascal Gross as a centre midfield, where 2-3 seasons ago when he was with us before, he was playing more of an attacking role a lot of the time. But this is very much sitting in a 2 pivot. And in this game against Man City, he went under the radar, but he was constantly around, knitting every little ball between one person to another and making sure he was there. The setup was very straightforward, really. It was play Jorginho Rutter as a false 9, very much a false 9. So although I go on about he's not a number 9, in this game he really wasn't playing a number 9's game. He wasn't playing as a striker. He was dropping into the hole. Matoma on one side, Kadioglu now playing right wing because he can play anywhere. And both of them, every time Brighton got the ball, just steaming through Manchester City's high line. And the counter-attacking style for that first 20, 30 minutes of that first half, we created 3 or 4. To be fair, we should have been 3 or 4 goals up. And that's not, I know that sounds ridiculous, but it honestly, Pascal Gross had a header within a couple of minutes that a free header.
Good XG going on there, didn't you? Yeah.
Kadioglu one-on-one with the goalkeeper. I mean, it's Donnarumma and he's huge and massive. So I can understand why he didn't score, but realistically, he should have.
He should have scored that.
Yeah, I agree. And so, although Man City had their chances too, it was just a really fun and open game, you know? And as I say, the Herzler style works when you've got another team that want to go for it as well. Yeah. So later in the half, Jorginho Rutter, playing in that false 9, actually managed to get a ball from the goalkeeper, I think it was from Dunk actually, from the centre mid area, passes it through the gap again and beats the high line, and Matoma and Rutter, between them, Rutter's through, and I don't know why he doesn't shoot. He tries to square it to Matoma for some reason. And again, another chance goes missing. And that's probably 3 or 4 now in that first half where we should have scored. But City kept getting the ball as well, obviously, and kept giving it to Jeremy Doku, who is a live wire. Every time he gets the ball, you're expecting something to happen.
Yeah.
And so we try and double up on him as much as possible. And Diego Gomez, who's playing across sort of from the almost like number 10 area, but is basically filling in wherever he needs to be filled in, is getting across onto that right-hand side. And he's really clumsy, and he's not having a good run, Diego Gomez. He defends very clumsily. He looks tired constantly, even though he runs and runs and runs. But yeah, 40 minutes in, Doku in the penalty box, and clumsy Diego brings him down. And VAR say you need to have another look at it, points to the penalty spot, and Haaland, as always, scores against us.
Yeah, of course.
But what I would say is, I think at the end of the first half, you are feeling a little hard done by, and you're thinking, this is the age-old story that we're playing well, we're creating lots of chances, we haven't got someone to put it in the back of the net.
But also you're playing Man City,
and there you go.
You're meant to feel hard done by when you play Man City.
I agree. But, both teams had chances to score. Honestly, it could have easily been 3-3 by half-time. It was a crazy first half. The second half, I suppose it was a little bit more how I expected the game to go with the second half, in that Man City have the ball.
It's not how I expected it to go.
Albion defending deep, waiting to counter. And the best moment of the game for Albion came on about 60 minutes, I think it was. Good work from Jorginho Rutter and Yasin Ayari. I'll talk more about him in a minute. On the right-hand side of the pitch, quick switch over to Matoma, who had half the Man City defence in front of him, still manages to dribble to the centre of the box and pass it into the bottom corner of the goal. It was just beautiful. It really was. And it's the first, since he's been out, and really probably the first time this season I've seen Matoma do what Matoma does, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
And so it was a really lovely goal. And for the next sort of 10 minutes, Albion went for it. They tried to score. They tried to win the game. And it's really interesting, right? This mentality of, we scored the goal, and when you watch us score, none of the teams celebrate. They run back to the centre spot. Like the whole idea that we're 3 down or something and we've got to score another goal.
Yeah.
So the mentality was very clear. I think it was unconscious as well. They just literally scored, ran back to the halfway line and wanted to restart. So it was very much thinking that they could win this game. And to be honest, we should have scored the next goal. And the second, well, I mean, I don't know if you saw this moment, right? But there is a moment where Matoma breaks free on the left-hand side. He gets in behind the really high line of City defence. He gets down to the byline, and he gets to within 2 yards of the goal, passes it back, and it gets to Diego Gomez, who is, I don't know, what, should we say 1 foot, 1.5 feet from the goal line. The ball has gone past Donnarumma. There is nobody in front of Diego Gomez apart from the open goal, and he manages somehow to kick the ball with his heel. His heel, Andy. Yeah. And it just goes straight back to Donnarumma sideways. I have to say, I think the biggest problem we had against Man City was Ayari and Gomez were Man City's best players.
Okay.
Like, honestly, that it was the two of them. Gomez was clumsy all the way through the game. Yes, he works hard, but he's very clumsy. And Ayari, well, 2 opportunities he gave Man City in the box by us trying to play out and him not looking where he's passing. And he literally gave them 2 opportunities. One that Haaland spawned that really he should have put away, to be fair. And a second one, again, where I think it was... who was it, actually? I think it was Cherky who had an opportunity as well. I know Bernardo Silva, that was it, who had an opportunity and hit against the post as well. So we gave Man City about 2 or 3 really big chances to score. But Andy, they didn't. And we managed to get a point from Manchester City. And
it was only a draw. Sorry, I've just been listening to you. It sounded like you won the game. So only a draw, though, but that's still a good point.
Macclesfield.
Still a good point.
No, it was a very good point, mate. It really was. And From a position where I wasn't expecting anything, I think a point away at the Etihad is good for anybody.
Mate, absolutely.
Listen, in summary, good team performance. Gross in midfield makes things look just so much better. Strong, assured. And we're getting Carlos Baleba back next week, so he'll be back in the lineup somewhere. I don't know whether he'll be on the bench or what, but I'm thinking of Gross and Baleba as a pivot is something that could be really, really special. The other thing to note is we were horrible against Man City. We were shit houses. We got 6 yellow cards. We were pushing people. We were holding onto the ball. We were time wasting. The penalty when the penalty came for Haaland, we had Hinchelwood trying to scuff up the penalty spot. There was lots of things going on, and I'm here for it. It's been too long that Brighton have been the nice boys. This is actually showing a bit of steel, and I'm up for it. But look, I digress. The point being that we were lucky at times, but we should have scored 3 goals too. I think overall, though, the draw was a fair result, and I take a bonus point as such, is what I would look at it as. It leaves us in 11th position on 29 points. But again, if our aim was to get Europe, which is, I think, 6th at the moment, it could be less than that, but 6th position, we are 3 points off 6th position.
As are most of the league.
Exactly, yes. Basically, everyone but Wolves. So, a good midweek result for Brighton. And
no, it is a good result for you, mate. It is a good result, and it's I'm pleased for you, and let's move on.
Shall we? So you had your lucky team, the team that you always beat. That's right, isn't it? You always beat Villa, apparently, because
we don't always beat them, but we haven't. We don't always beat them, but we are unbeaten against Villa in 7 matches.
It feels like that's changed. I'm pretty sure you said last week that you always beat them, but okay.
We were on a good run at the moment, but we don't lose to them.
Okay.
Right? There's a difference.
So how did that game go? Because obviously from the scoreline on first level, you just think to yourself, that was a boring game. What was it like?
That was all right. I mean, it was tight. And it was very cold. I was sat there shivering my ass off. It was very cold. And I think, look, Villa were looking for their, just put this into context, right?
Yeah, sure.
Villa were looking for their 10th win in 11.
Oh, they're on fire.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. They only lost to Arsenal, haven't they? So
exactly, right? They were looking for their 10th win in 11, and Palace hadn't won a game at home since beating Brentford on the 1st of November. Right? So, and obviously with all the injury problems that we've got, I was going in, and truthfully, I was going into this best case scenario looking for a draw.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
And I think we spoke about it last week, which is survival mode. Don't lose. Don't concede a set piece. Everyone's going to be reasonably happy if we can get a point against Villa, who are not the old Villa, the new Villa, and they've got a squad which is deeper than I thought it was as well. The more you look at it, you look at their bench and you look at our bench and you go, I think we've done all right out of this today. So I guess, look, key moments. I think obviously Johnson made his home debut. He was quite an early threat. I think racing clear. Only for kind of Martinez to produce an incredibly good save.
I saw that. That was a great save
at the beginning. And I mean, out of all of it, I just felt sorry for Johnson because that would have been a lovely start to his Palace career at home. And then I think we had multiple openings in the second half, including there was that kind of close low cross that just missed Mateta, which is something that I've said many times. God, when is he going to hit form? And obviously Villa had loads of opportunities, but I think Watkins had the Palace defenders scrambling quite a few times. But I think we had our moments in the game. I think Villa finished strong, and it was one of them 0-0 draws where you're like, come on, when's the whistle going? But look, I think funny enough, the review of this game would have been somewhat different had Saturday not have happened.
Sure.
For me. Because I felt like I walked out of there. Right, here's the truth. I walked out there on that Wednesday night, I think it was.
It was.
And I said to my son, I'm happy with that. I feel like we've turned a corner. this could be, like when you go on them downward curves after having a really good unbeaten run, and you look at it and go, this could be the turning point. This could be the point where we've not conceded a set piece. A couple of players have shown up today that haven't quite clicked. And
I agree, mate.
I thought we were on the way up, mate.
Any point against Villa is a good point. I totally agree.
Yep.
Keeping a clean sheet against Villa, another bonus.
Mate.
So I agree. I actually looked at that on paper and I thought, again, before the Macclesfield game, I thought to myself, do you know what? That's actually a really good result. I was fully expecting Villa to absolutely spank you.
Yeah, and I think Canvo, right? He was voted Palace's player of the match, and quite well deserved. I think he did really well, like leading tackles, aerial duels, clearances, and he helped keep that clean sheet and made some very good Villa players very frustrated, and he was beating his man every time. So I think. And he also had some real, just brilliant moments of composure where, mate, there were so many. This just keeps happening to Palace. I never watched any other game like it, where they're just every ball that comes in is an awkward height, or the ball's never on the floor, right? It's just never
That's
on
just
the
like
floor.
watching Palace.
And it's just, oh man! But he was dealing with all of them awkward, stupid balls that just were flying at ridiculous angles and too high to get your foot, but not low enough to header it, and all that. That's just constant. So I think our defence kind of held firm throughout, and obviously Villa's kind of possession heavy approach. I was here for it. I was like, we're all right, and it was only right at the end when they started really pushing us, but only because of our really poor form recently. You just don't have that confidence.
You just think something's going to happen. Yeah, I get you.
But again, though, we just didn't seem to have the confidence to score or the ability to beat that final man or create that moment of magic that. Truthfully, Brennan Johnson, that's the reason why he's come along, because we thought that he would be able to do that. And
you've got to give him a bit of time, though.
Mate, absolutely. And no beef going his way. I mean, maybe on Saturday there was a little bit, because I think even him, come on, man. But look, no set piece conceded, and I think a good team point. And absolutely on the up. Oh, no, hang on a minute. All went wrong a couple of days after that. But look, mate, I'm happy with that. I just think we've got a bit more of an even playing field coming up now. Yeah. We're not playing, in essence, we truthfully, mate, some of the weeks that have gone by, we've in essence played 3 games in a week, right?
You've got a bit of a clear schedule now for at least a few weeks, haven't you?
We've got a chance to be able to actually succeed. I think a team like Palace competing on 4 fronts it's not been sustainable. And yes, the board should have done better with the recruitment. We should have bought more players. But also, Glasner likes a small squad, so I'm not convinced that he's in the clear on this one either, to be brutally honest.
Fair enough.
One thing that did, and again, Neil, not bringing this one out for excuse reasons,
Here we go.
but what it does do is highlight the point that I'm trying to make. If you look at the table that Sky Sports published only 2 or 3 days ago, and it's the days lost from injuries table.
Yeah.
Premier League 2025-2026.
Yeah.
Right? Days lost from injuries. At the bottom, you got Fulham on 322. Sorry.
Yeah.
West Ham 375, Leeds 414, and then you work your way up. I mean, Man United are 4th from bottom, 426. They've got no excuse.
Exactly.
And then you work your way up. Brighton are, what are you, 2, 4, 6?
6th place.
6th place on 723 minutes lost to injury.
Yeah.
But you've got your lovely big squad of 18-year-old Greek people who, you've got to cover that. But obviously, you've still had a few key players out,
sure,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you've been able to cover it. Palace are on... Bearing in mind, Brighton, 723. Palace are on 918 in 2nd place, only to Spurs. So you've got the Spursy and the Palacey people right at the top there, all going wrong, followed by Chelsea, who, wouldn't even know anyone's missing because they've got the entire playing squad of the universe.
I think that's the interesting thing, though, isn't it? When you look at that, Spurs are really struggling, Palace are really struggling, and then the other 3-4 teams under that, which you've just labelled, so you've got Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal and Brighton. All 4 of those have got really big squads.
Massive squads.
And that's the difference, isn't it? That's the ultimate difference. So again, we go back to the same thing, which is in the summer, your manager wasn't backed.
The manager wasn't backed, and also we've been playing too many people, so it's a self-sacrificing situation.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It just gets worse. It gets worse and worse and worse until it explodes.
Oh, God.
And the point being is that it has exploded now, and that we are now not fighting on 4 fronts. We're now fighting on 2 fronts, just about.
Okay.
So let's see if we can put all our eggs in the Conference League basket and try and salvage the Farmers League.
So that left you, that Villa game, the 1 point that you did get, that left you in 13th place. I'm just looking at the points and just seeing how it all works out.
Where Brighton are?
So you're 13th, Brighton are 11th.
Yeah, and the points difference is how much?
Only 1 point.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's
even though you've had an upturn in form,
but that's what I said.
You've actually achieved nothing in terms of the run on the league.
No, I agree. That's what I said. There's no real big change. I think it's only 5 or 6 games will start to tell whether any team is starting to pull away. But so far, every team has been so inconsistent, really, when you look at, 6th place to 16th place, those 10 teams in that little middle section, everyone's beating each other and everyone's losing and winning. It's just like really, really strange. The only team that's really hit a bit of form recently is Brentford. They've suddenly found a little bit of form. They've had their last 5 games, they've got 4 wins and a draw. And that's what it does to you, right? You do 4 wins and a draw and suddenly you're in 5th place. What a huge difference that makes.
And likewise, if you lose 3 or 4 games on the bounce, you're right down there in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
And very, very quickly, which is why our 10 game, obviously it's not 10 games in the Premier League, but our 10 game little kind of problem that we've got right now cannot continue. No. Because I don't know whether, I can't find this. I'll see if I can find it next week, see if the problem, if the problems get any worse. Hopefully they won't. But there was someone who said something about Palace are reliving 1991 at the moment, and in terms of all of the problems that we've been going through and the whole kind of the situation with Europe, all the other bits and pieces, everything that happened in 1991 seems to be replaying itself in 2025, 2026, and the only thing that hasn't happened yet is that we got relegated the next year. And
a man can only dream, Andy.
I really hope that that isn't the case. I can't see it happening because we are already a long way there to be getting where we need to go.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think there are some teams that are worse. I think we're only on the way up now, mate.
Okay, listen, wrap it up there. Just quickly then, just a couple other things before we finish this pod. I think we should talk about some transfer news, if there's any sort of gossip or any sort of things that we know definite about, and then maybe talk about the upcoming games that we've got as well. Oh, just before we do, actually, one last thing from a Brighton perspective I didn't mention in the last half a game. The FA Cup draw happened, obviously, as well, I'm sure. Exactly.
Your smugness ain't going to last
Exactly.
long.
So literally, I'm buzzing that we've beaten Man United at Old Trafford, and yet again, we get drawn away this season in the Cup, not even to a lower league team or a team 117 places below us, but no, we get drawn to go to Anfield to play Liverpool. So yet again, the gods of the football draw are against us.
You say that though, Neil. Truthfully, drawing a non-league team on an AstroTurf in the middle of bloody nowhere with no facilities, all the other bits and pieces, is a bigger banana skin than rocking up to Anfield. I'm not saying it's a harder test. I'm not saying it's a harder test. But what I am saying is psychologically, you've got a lot more to lose if you lose to a lower team, right?
Yeah, of course.
Not specifically Macclesfield.
We're going to be the underdogs again, so that's fine.
That's the point.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Listen, this season,
both
though,
ways.
I just want to say, this season, right, we've had 5 cup games, right? We had 3 in the League Cup, and so far we've had 1 in the FA Cup, and obviously we've now got another one, our 5th one in the Cup, right? Every single one of them we've been drawn away, right? We hit Arsenal. Yeah, we've had Man United, and now we've got Liverpool. Talk about doing things the hard way. It's really out of order, in my opinion.
Well, but mate, you say it's out of order, but if you want to win a cup, you've got to beat some good teams, right? So you might
we
as well
don't
beat
have
them
to.
early.
Hopefully, we get Macclesfield next round.
The more big teams you play early on, the
less there are.
The easier it gets going forward.
Yeah. Well, listen, let's do some transfer updates now before we talk about the games that are going ahead. From a Brighton point of view, everything's really quiet at the moment. There's one rumour about a winger from Midtjylland, which which may or may not happen. But again, it's one of those sort of like 19, 18-year-old kids that, maybe a future buy or something. There's not many others. There's a few little whispers about a couple of midfielders that we might be looking at, but there's nothing that I want to bring to the pod that's real sort of firmed up in that sense.
Well, then.
I won't. So from a Palace point of view, we're the team that really need to move on some transfers.
Yep.
What do you have for me?
Well, we've got a couple of outs.
Okay. Not good.
Yeah. So, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Last week, Hamada completed that deal that we said was probably going to happen.
Yeah.
So he's gone to Auxerre.
Right.
And then SA has gone to Coventry on loan.
Has he?
Yeah. So, we're talking about the fact we got no players.
Well, yeah.
We've just given a really good one away to a team that needs it less than us.
That's strange, isn't
Mate,
it?
the problem, it's just ridiculous. That's two midfielders now that we've now have gone out the door.
Okay.
And no other ins. Again, setting a real good precedent, wasn't it? Brennan Johnson, like literally, as I said last week, Old Lang Syne just been sung.
Yeah.
Deal. We're like, oh, come on, bring it on. Who else is
the only
coming?
thing you can
no
think,
one yet.
The only thing you can think of is the fact that you've got like irons in the fire. Have you got any transfer rumours that are like feeling something that you want to talk about on the pod?
No, about Gay potentially going to Man City.
I meant incoming.
Oh, sorry, incoming. Right. Siddiqui Sharif supposedly has agreed personal terms with us, but the player. So the players agreed terms, but the clubs are close and in advanced stage to an agreement.
So tell me a bit more about him. I don't know who he is.
19-year-old.
Right. Okay.
19-year-old, plays at number 9 and left wing. He's a French youth international.
Oh, okay.
Currently playing for, is it Angers?
Angers, yep.
Angers.
Yep.
Sorry. Angers in the French league.
Yep.
And he's got, some amazing stats, mate. He's played 17 games, right? And he scored 4 goals. He'll be a great replacement for Mateta, who's got similar stats this season. Jokes aside, this kid is actually wanted and has, it looks like a good. One thing you have to remember with these stats, 4 goals in 17 games, is that he's playing in a team that is struggling against relegation.
Yeah,
right?
No, I agree. It's it goes back to the same thing, doesn't it? Your transfer business now at this time of year, when you haven't got any assurances that your manager is staying, it's going to be really difficult to attract certain type of people. And also, even further than that, as a club, who do you try and get? Because your style might completely change if you change your manager.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a real sort of,
I don't think
really uneasy, isn't it?
I don't think we can particularly change our style too much. I think we've got to try and find a manager who's going to play a similar style with similar players. Otherwise, we're stuffed, because you look at that whole, system falling down situation against a non-league team. Anyway, as soon as, put it like this, Glasner's situation is basically, I haven't had time to talk to the board. We haven't had time. We've been too busy.
No, I thought they
busy.
might be. Yeah.
Well, Glasner, my friend, you've got all the time in the world now, mate. And I'll tell you what did annoy me more than anything, by the way, we didn't talk about, very quickly. There's nothing worse than getting beaten by a non-league team in the FA Cup when you're holders, and then being really disappointed with them players because you didn't feel like they wanted it enough.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you see in the press is that all them players are out in the sun on holiday having a lovely time.
Really?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that's... look...
I don't doubt the fact they need the break, because it is actually the first time we haven't had a midweek game.
Yeah.
So, but also it's not the look, is it? It's not the look that you want. Because it feels like a reward, but it's not a reward because they do need a break. But there we go. Anyway, look, we've...
okay, so that's the only sort of rumour that's out there that seems a little bit...
There are loads of other rumours.
But that's the one that you think...
And I think the only one of any substance, and I can't remember the guy's name, but Gent, who we got Muniz from, the guy who replaced Muniz in Muniz's position is now rumoured to be coming to join us as well.
Oh, right, okay.
Which probably means that Muniz is off, and obviously Sharif's coming in, probably because Mateta's going.
Awkward. Okay, I'm not going to...
At some point, there needs to be outweigh of people coming in to people leaving, though.
Well,
let's see what happens. But I think what they'll be doing is they'll be bringing people in now to replace the people they think are going to be leaving in the summer.
Totally, yeah. That's forward thinking,
Let's just see, because I think that's a really good indication of what might be happening.
Okay,
but
fair
they
enough.
wouldn't have let SA go out, Neil, if we weren't bringing in some more people coming in.
No,
So-
I agree with that. It's just strange timing. You'd think you'd wait until you've actually got the players through the doors in the first place, but it doesn't seem like that's the Palace way.
Well, also, if SA ain't playing anyway, there's no point in bloody being there. Same with Ahmada. I mean, just save on the wages, mate, or give me the money. Anyway, who are you playing?
What, this week?
Yeah.
So we're Monday Night Football first time this season.
Well,
so we're on the
exciting,
old
isn't it?
Sky Sports Monday Night Football. We are at home to Bournemouth. So this is there's never much between Brighton and Bournemouth over the last few seasons. We have, I think, the last 4 games that we've played head-to-head wise, both teams have won 2 each. So there's really not much between us. There's always the odd goal here or there. There's usually a result. Very rare that we draw, actually. So I'm expecting an open game. Usually both teams go at it, if you think about it from that perspective. The good news is that Bournemouth obviously will be without Semenyo now, thankfully. So we miss him for the rest of the season. That's good news because he finished his transfer over to Manchester City just in time for us to miss him on the away match at Etihad.
you're lucky there.
Yeah, that was good timing. So now we miss him for Bournemouth as well. So that could help us a little bit. And obviously, I think the game could go either way. I'm not expecting too much in it. I think a draw would be the most obvious result, ironically, even though I said we hardly ever draw. But Bournemouth have not had a great run recently. They've been in pretty bad form. They beat Spurs, but then most people beat Spurs. Their last 5 games, they've got 1 win, 2 draws. Albion, though, again, not great form. Yes, a sudden couple of games, but it doesn't suggest that we're in good form yet.
Not many people have got great form. This is the issue. But
1 win, 3 draws for us at the moment.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I actually think you might get something out of that game, and it terrifies me because
So who
that
have
would
you got
move
then?
you up.
So who have you got?
We've got Sunderland, mate. We've got Sunderland.
Right. Away we're away then, isn't it?
It's away, and it's the
Right.
traditional 3 p.m. kickoff
Nice.
on the 17th. I mean, last time we met, it was a ball draw, which was the 13th of September.
I remember you going on about the goalkeeper absolutely playing out of his skin. But
Well,
then,
and to be fair though, we should have won it. We absolutely should have won it. That was the time when we were putting in the performances and we weren't getting the scores. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
But should have won it. Should have won it 2 or 3-0. But their form last 5, they've drawn 4 and lost 1, and we've drawn 2 and lost 3.
right, okay.
In the Premier League.
Yeah.
So not the letter W in sight in any of them stats.
And the way Sunderland have been playing, because they missed so many of their players to AFCON,
Yep.
they've struggled quite a bit to score goals. That's the biggest thing from them at the moment.
Between the two sides, we are XG is per game is like 1.
Really?
So
Okay.
it's going to be really interesting. I'm actually going on BBC Radio to talk about this on Friday.
Nice. Okay.
So I need to. Well, one thing that needs to happen between now and Friday is to cheer up. Because what I might do is go on BBC Radio, because it's obviously up in Tyne and Wear, I believe, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes.
And what I might do is actually just join in with them and go, yeah, you're going to spank us, which I don't think is probably the thing to do.
I think the question will be whether Sunderland have any of their AFCON players back. If they do, I think they've got more of a chance. But the way Palace are at the moment, they're in like survival mode. I think this could well be another 0-0, you know.
And I would say, mate, I've told you all along,
take it, wouldn't
I
you?
will settle for a 0-0 until the cavalry comes back.
But seriously, any point away at Sunderland this season, the way they are playing, is a fantastic result. If
Of
you get a
course.
point, that's a fantastic
Of
result.
course, and it just can't. Yeah, and I would be really surprised after the absolute bollocking that Glasner would have given them.
Yeah.
Whether we end up with a loss, but let's just see.
Okay, mate. Fair enough.
And that's it, Neil, for another episode of Seagull Eagle, the one that I didn't want to turn up to.
You sure you don't want to keep talking? We can go back over the FA Cup games if you want.
Thanks for listening, even to Neil.
He's ignoring me now. Make sure you follow the show so you don't miss the next episode when it drops.
You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and X. Just search Seagull Eagle to get the conversation started, but no talk of Macclesfield.
You can drop us an email at seagalleaglepodcast@gmail.com.
And we'll be back next week to talk about Brighton's loss.
And Macclesfield. See you later.
Eagle, Seagull!